Hi guys, welcome back to Soul Cousin. This topic is going to be on empaths, and we really just want to spark your guys' own research because this topic is so vast. There's so much information, there's so much to go off of, so we really just want to hit the basics and kind of go from there. So I asked Katie a little bit before this video, but Katie, when did you first realize you were an empath?
So I never knew what an empath was with the definition. But in high school, I could just feel other people's emotions. There could be like a really sad girl in the room and everyone's just like doing their schoolwork and I'm just like trying to figure out this person, like what's going on, like what could they be going through? Like I could just feel their emotions so powerfully. Or if I'm at like a party or an event and when I leave, I'm just so like overwhelmed because there's just so many different emotions like floating around the room and I'm so like observant to those. So, what about for you?
Um, Looking back, I never really noticed it until I was in the radiology program and we would be doing an exam and I could like feel the patient's nervousness and it would almost like take my breath away and I didn't understand it, feel the patient's emotions, and I would just like talk to them and try and ease their comfort. And then they would always like validate me at the end and be like, "Thank you for talking to me. Like that really helped me. I was super nervous."
Mm-hmm.
So that's like when I first was like, "How could I feel that?" But I didn't
Yeah.
amp into it until that book that we always preach about. It talks about how like empaths and narcissists are magnets to each other. We can attract them if we're unhealed. And that's when like I started digging into like what is an empath and like really figuring out like what we're capable of, because it's honestly mind-blowing to me sometimes. It's very much, a lot of people say it's a blessing and a curse. I don't believe it's a curse. Like I really think once
Now
you're,
it's not. Now that we're healed, that's why the narcissist is drawn to us because we're easy targets and we can have so much compassion for them. They give us all these reasons like, this is why I'm this way, this is why I'm this way. Oh, okay. Your childhood. Oh, okay. But that's the unhealed version.
exactly. I really want to go over like what is an unaware empath and like the symptoms, and then like what is an aware empath and the symptoms. Because when I came across this, I was honestly like mind blown. It was exactly how I was feeling. So I'm going to be kind of reading this off because I'm not going to memorize this. But an unaware empath basically feels very drained. They can be very codependent. They can be people pleasers, sucked into negative situations or surroundings. So that could be your friend group, that could be the narcissist, that could be your environment of your group that you're out with. Just all of those things can come into play. And then an aware empath, you're going to feel full of energy. You're going to have healthy boundaries. You're going to feel confident and you're going to know what he or she wants. And typically, your profession is something that you love and are passionate about. So I really related to that because I remember just asking a friend, like, why do I feel so drained all the time?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember I would go to the gym and I would be like, okay, when I get home, I'm going to do this, this, and this, like feeling so full of energy. And I would go home and my narcissist would be there and I would feel so drained. I would feel like I had no energy. He'd be like, just come sit down on the couch. And like, I wouldn't do anything I needed to do. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember disappointed in myself. And so this like really like answered a lot of questions to like why I just all of a sudden felt drained.
Being an empath alone is draining, but on top of that, when you're dealing with a narcissist, it's like nearly impossible. You literally are on like below empty. So that's definitely why you felt drained. Are like some ways that you've overcame or healed the young empath, as you would call it, or premature empath before you were healed?
I think it was really just learning. Like we always say, knowledge is power. Like once I just learned about like what to look for, and honestly, I didn't even read a book. I just went on Pinterest and typed in empath and
Yeah.
these little things and these blogs to read. Like, this is just self-made stuff. So it's like, don't be like, oh my gosh, I have so much work to do. Like, you can learn about this by just like reading one or two things every day. But
Right.
I honestly felt like once I started reading, I was like, wait, that's me. Like, wait, that's me. And sometimes, like Katie was saying, like, I would go places and feel drained, but then sometimes I would go places and I'd feel very uplifted. And I started looking at who I was around when I felt drained and who I was around when I felt uplifted. Because you're not always going to feel drained if you're around the right people as an empath.
Right. And everywhere and everyone gives off an energy. And if you're surrounded by a narcissist, they don't know their true self. They're constantly they're living in denial. They don't flow from a place of love and comfort. So yeah, they're emitting that energy onto you, even if you're not even talking to them. You're just being around it, you know.
I had a friend who I worked with her. Honestly, she might have been who sparked it too for me, because so I'm going to go over quickly before I tell the story. There's 6 different empaths, and I just want to go over quickly like what they are. I'm going to be reading these because I can't remember them again, but there's an intuitive empath. So this empath will get intuition visions or dreams. There's an emotional empath. So they feel other people's emotions, people, places, and things. So there's also a physical and medical empath. So they experience physical pain of others. There's a geomatic empath, which feels energy of the planet, cities, and sacred places. There's a plant empath. So they feel energy from plants, flowers. And then there's an animal empath, feels emotions from animals. So my friend that I was talking about, she gave me my notebook when I first started like all of my healing. And it's so cool because that's my notebook. Like, I use that thing everywhere. And so I just like really appreciate that she did that. But also, she was an animal empath. So she would come around and she'd be like, oh, Noah, dog, Noah is feeling this way, or no, and I would be like, how do you know that? And so she did a ton of research, and she actually worked with like a counselor that specialized in working with empaths, and so she was like very aware. And so she taught me that like our old boss was kind of crazy, and like she would have to ground herself throughout the day, and she would make calls and stuff because she was a scheduler, and she would have to go take a moment and decompress because she didn't want to absorb other people's energy from the day. And so that kind of also sparked my interest. For me, I really do think like I'm an emotional empath because I can feel like other people's emotions. I can sense if there's like something wrong, like in a place. I won't want to go into that place. I know we went to Meow Wolf, which is like this thing in Denver, if you guys don't know about it. And there was like this weird demonic room. And I looked at Dustin and I was like, I don't want to go in that. Because I just like, I felt in my chest something was off. And so I learned to listen to that now.
Right.
I also know that I'm a physical and medical empath. That's why my job is so draining, because when I am watching someone scream, when I have to x-ray them, I'm absorbing all that. It's really hard. I feel their pain, and it's not fun to do. So I know for Katie, I was telling her, I think she's for sure an intuitive empath, where she has gotten dreams that have literally like came true. So kind of touch on that.
Yeah. I just get like little things here and there, like I don't know, in my dreams that will like happen in like a week or so. I've told Kara things that have happened before they've even happened. And then just like with like in the future, like I'm not a fortune teller or anything, but like I have seen like things. I don't really know where to go from that.
Yeah, no, I think all like you need to touch on. And if you're watching this and you think this is weird, that's okay. This is just to spark your guys' interest to see like what your gifts are. And so that's why we don't believe that it's a curse, because we have been able to tap into this a little bit stronger than what we originally had. And we now see it as like a gift from God. So whatever you think, it's intuition, discernment from God, the universe, like do your research, because it will help you and to know yourself better. I kind of want to go over like with this, we can attract, like we said, an unaware empath can attract narcissists. It's because our empathy, we will give to literally exhaustion. And the narcissist loves that because they will just take.
Yeah.
And that's why an unaware empath will just keep giving because they don't know. And the narcissist loves that. But we always preach on an aware empath. We'll be like, whoa, you're taking advantage of me. And the narcissist hates that. I think that kind of comes into like guilt tripping. So Katie, like the amount of times we were guilt tripped when we were trying to leave, kind of touch on that.
Wow. That's like the number one reason why I think that we stay, is because all the guilt. And that's how the hoovering tactic works, because they come back around and they say that they've changed, and we're holding all of this guilt on our shoulders. You know, they tell us, you won't make this work with me. You don't believe in me. You're not going to try, like, you know, and that's heavy to carry. And empaths carry guilt around. Unhealed empaths carry guilt around that doesn't belong to us. So it's easy to just go back to the narcissist and just hand it all over. Like, here, take it back. And then you're back stuck in that abusive cycle. Yeah, but guilt is definitely one of the hardest parts of being an empath.
I felt so torn so many times where I knew it was bad. I knew I needed to leave, but the guilt was so heavy that I would feel bad. He would be like, this is what everyone does. They just leave. And then I'm like,
yeah,
you know, like, I really care for you. And he'd be like, you don't, or else you wouldn't leave me. And like, that is so heavy. It's like, well, this is no longer like serving my best interest. Like, look how toxic it is. And then he would just like, just keep guilt tripping me. And then I would eventually, because obviously you do love that person. That's so hard to like turn them down when you don't want to. You truly want to believe that it will work out and you will have that hope, but it's all false. So I also feel like, so I went over this. I always post this as a graphic, so I'm going to like try and get through it off the top of my head. But there's 2 phases, and we call it the unaware and unaware. But it's basically when the empath doesn't know, or they're not aware of who they are. So there's this dark veil over their face, and they will go through narcissistic abuse, toxic relationships. They will go through all these tragic things in their life, and then something happens where they are awakened, and they will start to use their gifts or their powers, so to speak, to have a better life and to be a better person and to fulfill what they always love. Like, empaths love helping people. So like, that is very fulfilling, and that's when they start to find themselves, find their career, find their passion, and all that stuff. So it really like goes hand in hand with this stuff, which I like, we always say, we went through this abuse and now look how much like we know ourselves, you know? So it's like
100%.
As hard as it was, and like as much as I hate what I went through, I am grateful for now what I know.
Yep. An educated empath is a narcissist's worst nightmare, because an uneducated empath, we don't know ourselves. We're easy to persuade. We are easy to take on other people's emotions, which is what the narcissist tries to give us. They give us all the baggage that they don't want. So when you're an educated empath, you know yourself, you know what you stand for, and you tap into like your powers basically. So it's really cool to step into that. And
I agree.
that's exactly what like I feel like you and I went through this for, is just to find ourselves, and to, we're obviously empaths and we like to help others. Like we reached out, or we get people reaching out to us, and that's what we're here for. This is literally what we went through the abuse for, is to help others in our exact situation.
And
So
it's so crazy because like I have a friend who I know from social media, and I just like kind of briefly talked about like an empath, and she had no idea like I was talking about empaths and digestive health, like gut health. And so like if you walk in a room and like the energy's off and you get a stomach ache, like that's normally your intuition guiding you that like something's off and you're feeling that. And so I like to say that's like my warning sign to keep my guard.
right.
And so like I know for Katie, you said you feel it in your gut. I actually feel it in my chest. My boyfriend's dog had anxiety when we first moved in together. I would be like stressed out. I would like feel like I couldn't breathe. And I figured out she had anxiety and I was absorbing all of it, because as empaths, we absorb other people if we don't know how to block it out. And so that's also where I was like, wow, I can feel a dog's anxiety. Like that is crazy to me. So I can feel my patient's anxiety now. Like I know what to look for. And so, like we said, all of this will kind of, you'll almost understand it. And you'll go throughout the day like, oh shit, that's what I read. Oh shit, that's what I'm experiencing. You know,
Right.
like where you're starting to pay attention to that now and being aware. And then it's like all going to help you later down the road, because you're going to go through life instead of being like, what the hell was that stomach ache or that feeling? You're going to have answers to that.
Yeah, and I think we're all like empathetic. Is that a word? Empathetic creatures, you know, because we all have feelings and we all have an intuition. So maybe if you're not one of those like crazy empaths, like you really have to tap into your intuition and listen to your gut, because it's all a response. Like you're being triggered to, it's like fight or flight, fight or flight, you know. When you have a feeling, when you walk in somewhere like Kara said and you get this weird feeling, just listen to that. There's so many stories out there where people have literally like walked out or like not gone out on a plane and like the plane crashed, or like it's really a true thing. And that goes to play with a narcissistic relationship, because you can get that so strongly in the beginning of a relationship, and that's just red flags that you need to listen to.
Yeah. It all just like really ties in to being aware of who you are and like knowing who you are so no one can tell you otherwise, because
Right.
I didn't know who I was when I went through this abuse, honestly. Like,
You know what's funny? My best friend, sorry, did you have, did you want to finish? I had a really good point. My best friend sent me a video. You know how like the iPhones make like cute clips of like people and stuff in your phone? So she sent me a video of me. It like made one in her phone, and that was when I was in like the middle of my narcissistic abusive relationship. And especially now that I'm sober too, like watching those pictures, I was like, oh my God, like that's like, I don't know that person. Like it was so crazy to see like the growth that I've overcame, and like just being in that relationship, I'm like at such a different place. The growth that we've gotten from it is like crazy.
it's so
Just like
cool.
talking with me, just you and I talking and like doing these videos. Like I remember our very first video, we were just like so nervous, and now it's just like we're just being us, like authenticity.
Had such a like nostalgic feeling, because I went through that last week and I made that video where I went to the gym that I remember crying at with my narcissist. I'll never forget this. I was literally sitting there he had just cheated on me once again, and we were trying to make things work. And I was literally sitting on like this, what is it called? Turf area, like, doing abs. And I just sat there, and he was being so sweet, of course, because he's in the love bombing phase trying to get me back. And I just started crying because like I was just like so beat down, couldn't believe like I was like my body was like, what are you doing? You're taking him back again? Like this
Rejecting it.
yeah, like they were just like my body was just like not feeling it. And I went to that gym, and like I looked at that turf, and like just everything I have now, I was like, holy shit, like thank God. Like thank
Right?
you for everything. Thank you for getting me out. Thank you, God, for getting me through this. Thank you, God, for like teaching me so I can teach others. Like it was just beyond like nostalgic to where I was just so grateful. And so that's why we make these videos for you guys, is like that person that's broken is not forever. Like,
And we want you guys to feel that. We want you guys to look back and be like, wow, like I can't believe I thought that was life. Like I can't believe I thought that was forever. Like that was literally like the start of my life.
yeah. And it felt like that my whole world was caving in then, and now I have a whole new world that's even better that I created. And so it's just so crazy because we may come across like these very put together women now. We were not those girls. Like we were those girls that went back. We were those girls that didn't understand any of this. We had no idea what the hell an empath was or a narcissist. So just know that like we're just like you, and this research is literally from YouTube University.
Life changing information that is right at your fingertips.
Like if you don't have the money for a counselor, YouTube is free. So there's plenty of resources out there, and we really just wanted to put this video out there to spark your guys' research. Maybe you are an empath. Maybe you need to listen to your gut feeling, your intuition, the Lord, whoever you want to say. So we just want to wrap this up, and we would love for you guys to ask us questions so we can make that Q&A video. Like we are eager to know what you guys are struggling with so we can, really relate to you.
Yeah, you're not alone, and we're here for you. And if you guys have any questions, reach out. As always, we want to be your accountability buddy. We want to be your what is it called, like sponsor, because we're getting sober off these narcissists. We know how hard it is to not go back. It's an addiction. It's a chemical imbalance in your brain. And yeah, we're here to help, like 100%. So don't be afraid. Just hit that little DM button.
I love Carter. Do it. We hope you guys do your own research and just journal your shit out, because it will help, I promise.
Feel and heal, baby. Process those emotions, okay?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. We gotta go. Bye.